Do you ever feel like you're not living up to your full potential and there's a wellspring of wisdom within you that you're just not tapping into fully? Join the club of, 7 or 8 billion members now? The High Priestess in Tarot is an archetype of the divine feminine. She's associated with inner wisdom, intuition, and self-discovery. She also represents the reflective waters of the subconscious. This video will guide you on a journey to connect with your very own High Priestess. In this busy and complex modern world, it's easy to feel lost, disconnected, or overwhelmed. It can be challenging to deal with all the noise and to balance all the demands that are placed upon you. You need practical tools and insights to help you hear your intuition and find clarity on your path forward. Not only that, but you need the motivation to want to apply those tools and insights when you need them. So let's get into the next part of the video. What are her secrets? What are behind her veils? What is she hiding? One of the main mistakes we make with spirituality is that we approach it in a way or as a way to get security. For example, we think that if we get psychic powers, we'll get some kind of ultimate power and all our problems will be solved. But here's the thing, that's just the ego wanting security. And there's also a paradox. The more we want security, the less we actually have security. Having psychic ability isn't about knowing everything. It's about connecting to your inner wisdom, being able to follow your intuition, to guide you step by step on your journey through this life. It's about developing a deeper connection with your inner knowing. If you didn't have this connection, you would just be repeating your conditioned patterns. Have you ever had a time in your life where you faced a challenge and you didn't know how you were going to deal with it? But you received some information somehow. It might have been a sign that seemed to be outside of you, like a song you heard, words on a sign, an animal that crossed your path. But the message got to you somehow. And whatever it was, it resonated with you on the inside at the same time. And you knew that it was a message of some kind. You felt that aha, or that click. Some piece of the puzzle fell into place and you just knew that somehow everything was going to be okay. You had new peace of mind and knew that all is well. You experienced your inner High Priestess. It's about recognizing that the answers you seek are already within you. You just need to learn how to listen. You are what you are seeking. But you can't know yourself in the usual way of knowing things because you are the one that's looking. It would be like trying to see your face without a mirror. You can't see yourself because you are yourself. All you can ever see is an image of yourself, an idea that you have about yourself. At this point, you might have extra questions about the High Priestess in a tarot reading. Don't worry, I've put together some keywords in a free tarot guide here. It's down there. You can click it in the links in the description. Note the poles on either side of the High Priestess. Our usual way of understanding life could be called a left brain approach, or monkey mind, or lizard mind. But even the rational left brain, now known as the neocortex, can only know things from the past. It's kind of like AI, except AI can compute things much faster. But AI does not have intuition, although arguably the neocortex might be a portal for intuition, which is beyond the brain. The brain is sort of a physical manifestation of transferring thought into our mind-body experience. That is a topic for another video. Intuition sees the whole picture. The right brain and the left brain are united, just like the poles are representing this in the tarot card. And together, they create something beyond what the mind already knows from the past. This is akin to intuition, intuitive knowing. And a lot of inventors and creators get these spontaneous ideas in the same way. Another symbol I like is that the horizontal line on this cross can be seen as conventional time-space reality. The vertical line is intuition. It cuts through with something from beyond what is already known. This is all symbolic of the duality we experience in the world. We need duality to experience up or down, or left or right, or hot or cold, happy or sad. But we forget that there are infinite variations between the two poles, nuance. Okay, and that's a lot of what's going on in the world right now, this polarity. People are forgetting about all the nuance. And not only that, the two polarities on either side are on the same stick. The High Priestess is aware of all the infinite variations. And even though the High Priestess is numbered 2 in Tarot's major arcana, she resolves all duality between the poles with intuitive understanding. Intuitive means inner teacher, intuitive or tuition, which means teaching or learning. Elias Howe, who invented the sewing machine, is a great example of intuition at work in the life of creativity. As somebody who invented something, he was struggling for a long time apparently to come up with a way to create a machine that could do what people did when they sewed. And when people sewed by hand, of course, you probably know this, the eye of the needle's at this end, the point of the needle's at this end, the point goes through first, and the thread comes through last. And he had been trying to find a way to resolve this with a machine, to no avail, and apparently other people were trying to invent it at the same time. But one night he had a dream, and in this dream he was taken prisoner on an island by the natives of this island. And apparently they threw him into a stewing pot. And sounds like a bit of a nightmare maybe. Anyway, in this dream he was in the stewing pot, and he noticed that their spears that they had all had holes in the tips of the spear. And when he awoke from his dream, he realized that he had stumbled, his dream had given him the piece of the puzzle that he had been looking for to invent the sewing machine. All right, so you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, unsure, uncertain. It's time to quiet the noise and turn inward. Your intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Albert Einstein. Step 1. Carve out your sanctuary. By creating a dedicated space for introspection, you signal to your mind that it's time to quiet the external world and connect with your inner self. You'll cultivate a sense of peace and clarity, making it easier to access your intuition. This could be a corner in your room, a meditation cushion, or even a spot in nature. Add some elements that evoke a sense of the sacred, such as crystals, plants, candles, or inspiring artwork. Think of your sacred space as a charging station for your soul. 2. Quiet the mind to hear the whisper of intuition. Through basic meditation, mindfulness, and even pausing to take a few deep belly breaths throughout your day, you can create space for your intuition to emerge. You'll develop a greater awareness of your emotions and your feelings, your inner landscape, which will allow you to respond with more clarity and confidence. If you already meditate, great. If not, start with just a few minutes or 5 minutes. Focus on your breath. Watch your thoughts without getting caught up in them. If you do get caught up in your thoughts, as soon as you notice that has happened, don't judge yourself harshly. Just allow yourself to be present again. And actually, as soon as you do notice that you've been caught up in your thoughts, you are present. Notice that you're the one watching your thoughts. And if you're the one watching your thoughts, then you are experiencing that for yourself, that you are not your thoughts. You're experiencing it beyond the intellectual understanding. Developing this awareness is actually the main reason to meditate, as well as its main benefit. Step 3. capture the whispers of your soul. By journaling your thoughts, feelings, dreams, and synchronicities, you create a tangible record of your inner wisdom. You'll begin to recognize patterns, gain clarity on your path, and strengthen your trust in your intuition. Ask simple questions such as, what am I feeling right now? Or, what is my heart telling me? What am I grateful for? Write it down without overthinking or censoring. But try to make it make sense so that when you look at it again in the future, you'll actually understand what you wrote. I've made this mistake many times where I've looked back at something and had to decipher what I meant because I wrote it in a way I understood at the time, but not the way that my future self could understand. So keep that in mind. If you're interested in learning tarot, an excellent way to journal is by using tarot cards, and this is personally one of my preferred methods. To start, all you really need to do is choose a card and then jot down your first impressions about what you think it might mean. From there, you can look in one of your books at the keywords and see which ones jump out at you or resonate with you. This technique is called bibliomancy, by the way. I like to do this in the morning and then review my day at the end of the day and see how that card actually did influence my day. It helps me to connect with life as well as understand the cards. It made the cards and continues to make the cards more personal for me, giving them meaning. Although I don't do it exactly like that now anymore. I still do sometimes, but I will do layouts now with more cards and journal it and then review. But the whole idea is that you're making the cards personal for you, the meanings of them personal, and you're accessing your inner High Priestess in doing this. Whereas other tarot archetypes, such as the Magician, inspire us to take action, the High Priestess is about being receptive. She can take us to a place where all apparent conflicts dissolve in an inner knowing. And look, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman or however you identify or anything like that, everyone has access to the High Priestess. You can do this by carving out a sacred space for yourself and beginning a meditation and journaling practice. The main thing is to find the space for yourself to explore the stillness within. But it doesn't have to be formal. You can just turn off your phone, just be still, be bored, allow yourself to be bored. I often I have a plant over here, I'm looking at it right now. I often just sit and look at my plant and I actually can feel a communion with that plant. They're beautiful plants, by the way, they're really thriving in here. And you can do the same thing with a house plant or just with a pet, just commune, just be with just even the window, look out your window. And if you want to connect with your intuition, your inner High Priestess, I highly recommend that you start some kind of meditation and journaling practice. Not too much at once until you can build up to make it a habit, until you can really strengthen that muscle. It's like if you started going to the gym when you hadn't been going to the gym. If you do too much at once, you're going to fall off and you're not going to be able to stick with it. But if you build up gradually and slowly with intention, you'll eventually master it more and more and get stronger with it and actually begin to reap the benefits. Find the times that work for you and your lifestyle so that it becomes a part of you. Here are two High Priestess cards from two different decks. This is from the Haindl Tarot, or the Haindl Tarot. I love this deck. It's a very unique deck. I absolutely love it. And this is from the Gilded Tarot Royale by Ciro Marchetti. In this one, you can see the two poles here, the B and the J, and they are the polarities that I've been talking about, okay? And notice the High Priestess there's still the water, the reflection of the subconscious mind, and the receptivity, the fluid nature of the water, and the womb even as well, motherhood, as part of that because of the divine feminine influence. And she's leaping out of the water. That's where it's expressing that idea of intuition. When you get an intuitive insight or an aha, it's instant almost. It's spontaneous and instant, and that's what she's expressing there. The light bulb goes on. The moon is also a part of it. She's associated with the moon, of course, and that's even more so illustrated here with the Haindl Tarot. I don't know how much you can see this because this is, I believe it's oil paintings, so I'm not sure how clear you can see it, but you can see her face. Just the cool thing on this one is how she's kind of misty or hidden behind the mist. Just, you can just see her through the mist, like that whisper of intuition that we were talking about. And you see the moon, it's actually on her third eye, which is very interesting. The intuition, again, being pointed at that way. And you see that moon, that crescent moon, on her third eye. The polarities, or the two poles, are there in a more subtle way. You see on this side it's darker, and on this side it's lighter. So the light moon to the dark moon. So those poles are illustrated that way. And then you've got some other symbols that are quite interesting. You've got this sphere here, which again, to me, points out the full moon, and also pregnancy, you know, being the mother. So you've got the maiden, mother, crone, the three phases of the moon. And that's illustrated here. You see her as the maiden. This would be the mother. And the crone is very subtle. I got this idea from a book on this deck by Rachel Pollack. This idea comes from her. The crone is very subtle here in the darkness of the water and these crevices, these dark crevices here. And that's the darkness of the crone being when the moon is waning almost to the point where you don't see it at the new moon. Okay, so the three phases of the moon are represented. Here you've got a camel. All right, a camel is there because of the Hebrew letter. I'm not going to get into that here. It's not necessary to understand for tarot. Some people want to dive into that. If it floats your boat, by all means, jump into it and learn about it. This is called Gimel, and it is a camel. So the camel is there. In runes, I'm more familiar with runes, by the way. This is Uruz, okay? Strength, it is a wild ox, or the aurochs, in ancient Nordic lore, and its strength. It's basically strength, but it's also an energy which forms matter. It manifests and forms from nothing, from subtle substance into something. Okay, so that again comes back to that idea of motherhood in a way, and the pregnancy and the strength required. The camel as well, journeying across the desert and having that strength, and it sustains itself. So that's all in there. There's more I could go on, but I don't want to make this video too long, although there is one interesting point as well, and that is these edges here, where the dark waters are. Okay, so what tarot teaches is to stay active. Yes, meditate, balance off with meditation all the activity, because otherwise we're just hurrying and scurrying about in our life, and our minds are in a million different places, distracted and fragmented, not disciplined at all. Our minds are undisciplined. So the practices that I laid out in this video already about the High Priestess are very helpful, but some people will go too far the other way and just want to meditate all the time and just be kind of escaping from life and get lost, like they're stepping over this edge, looking over this edge, trying to see what's in these dark waters, the unconscious below too much, and there's a risk of falling in there and getting lost. And that's what tarot also cautions against, all the balance, because you've got other archetypes like the Magician and the Chariot type of thing, which are, you know, about being active and balancing the yin with the yang, because obviously the High Priestess is more of a yin energy. Okay, so that's a very basic overview of some of the symbolism from these two decks. And let me know in the comments below, what's the one thing you can do today to connect with your inner wisdom and your inner High Priestess? Thanks for watching. See you in another video.